Support for the show can be you. Go to patreon.lux.b and sign up there to get access to ad-free shows and a lot of other behind-the-scenes goodies. Lux Media just relaunched the merch shop, and there's a lot of new stuff going up all the time. Shop.lvx.be and get yourself hooked up. Patreon subscribers, that's patreon.lvx.be, get 20% off codes every single month. So it's ad-free and it's discounts. I don't know what else more you want.
Hello and
Welcome
to
Alternate
f***ing
Casuals.
What makes you
Fucking
casual?
It don't matter.
What you know,
fucking
All right. You ready to rock?
yeah.
Loose lips
do it.
sink ships. All right, cool. Ready to roll. Ultimate effing casuals. Oh shit, man. Nathan, Isaac, how are you guys doing? It was that fight night card was actually pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hyped. Had some good sleep last night. You know, a full day of fights, but yeah, I'm good.
Excuse me, just coughing up a lung here. Better now that I've gotten over this illness, but just in time for the fights last night. They're excellent.
Oh man, it was just a packed day. I was out of town and I was having trouble finding a lot of the boxing stuff. Unfortunately for me, some of it was potato quality, but what are you gonna do? Let's get into the shit here. So our reviews are from the 9th to the 15th. So some boxing shit. A review from the boxing side of the house. This was on Valentine's Day, Top Rank in New York. There's a whole lot of fights on here. There was a lot of fun on here, but we're gonna cherry pick. Keyshawn, the businessman Davis, stops Dennis Branchik in 4 to win a title at 135 pounds. I was always reluctant to go all in on Keyshawn, but this was, any doubts to me were quickly silenced with this one. I don't know he's a titleist, he's a champion now. So is he ready for the other champs? Because 135 has a good roster.
Yeah, I think the sooner the better, because there's a lot of older veterans that he could just sit around and pick off in mandatory defenses, but I say just go straight for the top.
Yeah,
you've proved it. You're young. If you're gonna have a misstep now, I'd rather it happen when you're young. I hope he doesn't just sit on that title and just hang around. I want him to go straight for, if he could get a Shakur fight, he could get even a Davis fight, which would be, huge. That'd be a scary ass matchup for him. But I want to see him go for it. I want to see that potential he's got. So just go for it. If you can get him to sign the contract, go for it.
He's not going to fight Shakur though. They both train with Bomac. They're like best friends or whatever. So they've both said.
I saw a post on
that they're not going to.
I saw recently a post on Twitter. There could just be trying to promote each other a little bit more, but I think Keyshawn said something like send the contract, to someone, some reporter was asking Shakur during the Riyadh event, the last crescendo event, if he would be open to a Keyshawn fight, and he said yeah, and then Keyshawn responded, send the contract. I don't know if it was for real, but I don't know. I feel like at some point they might be open to it.
Maybe once it's an undisputed situation, they might consider it, but. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I did see, though, that Keyshawn was sort of looking to get a match against Isaac Cruz, in interviews that I was watching.
Oh, that's good. That is good. That's a good move back down for, if you want to get Pitbull to move back down, that's a good one to entice him with. You want a title shot?
That's a money fight for both of them as well.
Yeah,
those sell pretty well, I think.
Put that in LA.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, another LA trip. Oh, woe is me. One coming up. It's a shorter list, but on the first in Brooklyn, Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. I'm not too keen on the main event, but there's a lot of good matchups on the undercard. Main event, Tank Davis, Lamont Roach. How I put this when I talked about it with Alex on B-Sides, it's not a question of when or of if, it's a question of when. And then I just said what round, and we both knew exactly what I was talking about. What round does it happen?
Yeah.
Early before round 6.
You think
Like,
so?
I mean, I think this is a pretty mega mismatch. And
Yeah.
you know, Gervonta, when you stack him up against all the other contenders around him, he probably has the best resume of them all. So, like, I'm a little slow to criticize the matchmaking, but like, this is a nothing fight. Like, Gervonta's going to win. He's probably going to win round 5, round 6. So,
Yeah.
eh.
I was thinking round 5 is when the KO will come in. But Nathan is right. This is sort of a nothing burger fight. We already know the ending before the fight even happens. Like you said, Leo, it's just about what round do we want to predict. Yeah, I mean, the next fight has to be a good fight for Tank, I feel like. No more, I mean, Roach isn't like super trash, but it's from the weight division below. So I feel like Davis has to fight some type of contender or like fight that will add to his resume, you know, like a Rayo, maybe a Shakur. I doubt that happens right now, but some fight that will make his resume better. Otherwise, he's just going to get, if this happens again, if we get another Roach fight, it's going to be really bad in terms of like Tank PR online.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's difficult to justify this. The only real thing is like, okay, he's a champion, yes, but it's at a lower weight class. It's not that big of a weight jump. It's still a weight jump that he's not really prepared for. I would imagine he's not anyway. And there are a lot of really good names around him that he could be fighting and should be fighting, but he's not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Alex had a hot take, and I want to share it with you guys if you didn't hear it. It's history will. If this is like, if Tank is going to genuinely retire in the next few years, history is not going to remember him. Not that it's going to be unfavorable or favorable. It's just not going to happen because he hasn't really had any career-defining wins with contemporaries. All of his like better wins have been people he pulls up. What's his name? Hector Garcia, good fighter, but he was at 126. Santa Cruz also got pulled up, and now he's pulling up a guy again from a lower weight division. Frank Martin.
Yeah, I mean,
kicked him off early.
You don't think the Ryan Garcia win holds more than that?
That's about all he had. That's about all he has. But this is also Alex's take, not mine. Nathan,
Gotcha.
It's Saul Goodman in.
Interesting takes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I don't mean to roast, but it's just facts. But I mean, to a certain extent, he's correct. But I will say, if we get like a Shakur fight, a Keyshawn fight, I mean, a Shakur fight, if Tank fought him and beat Shakur, his resume is rock solid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's about everything. I mean, he could fight Shakur, beat him, and retire if he wanted to, and no one could criticize him. No one could criticize him.
Yeah, if he had got that Lomachenko fight, that would have been. I think
Ryan Garcia
and that would have been good enough to retire on.
The thing is, not like I still think the Loma fight could still happen, but at the age that Loma is now, with all the health issues he has, it's not going to be worth as much as it would have been.
Right.
What was it, like 3 years ago? Or however long ago it was.
1 or 2. It was recent.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's not going to hold. It holds weight. I mean, it's not a bad fight, but it's not going to hold as much weight as it would have all that time ago. Yeah, he needs something.
Frank
He needs
Martin,
something.
that they were talking about it.
Oh yeah, because I think I'm thinking about. I think when I was saying all those years ago, I think I was thinking about Haney and Loma, but that was way before actually.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yep, that was it. It was an interesting. It's an interesting thought experiment, if nothing else. Is how favorably will he be remembered? And yeah, Alex had a good. I thought it was thought provoking, if nothing else. But that's it for the boxing side of the street. Things are still hot, man. Yeah, if you're not watching boxing, you fucking should be.
Yeah, 100%.
Not just saying that because we have the best fucking boxing podcast on the entire planet. It's not just because of that, but the sport is so much fun right now. Absolutely worth tuning in. Into some news here. So Ilya Topuria drops his featherweight title, and writing is on the wall. Looks like Islam Makhachev is next. Holy shit. I was beside myself when I saw that news. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So, like, when I initially saw this news, I mean, I shared it immediately, but now, like, I think it was just today, even in the morning, or like during the press conference they had last night, the UFC, Dana White mentioned that it might not be Islam next for Topuria. But I really don't know, like, what they can match up Ilya with that would even be. I mean, it's going to be a big fight regardless, but Islam versus Ilya is just a mega fight.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I feel you can't really waste that opportunity. And then you add on that Islam doesn't really have a fight lined up since Arman, got injured. There's not really a next guy. I mean, I feel like it's just a fight to make. And holy shit, man, if that fight gets booked, that is going to be one of the biggest fights in some time.
And not all, and it feels like the right move at the right time. Like, I get, and then it does actually trigger some interesting discussion about where Topuria sits all time in featherweight history. But setting that aside for a moment, like, he's beaten the two best guys in the division. I don't really see a need for a rematch for either. Like, I did kind of want to see the Volk rematch, but like, it was always better if he just moved up because he's already won. Like, the rematch doesn't really say anything more about Topuria, and the Makhachev fight is just so much more interesting on paper. And at the same time, it lets Volk come back against a more reasonable opponent in Ortega, which is still a great matchup. Like, oh my god, what a vacant title fight that is. Or did I say Ortega? I meant Lopez. Excuse me. But too excited here. Can't think straight. But that's a significantly better fight on paper for both guys than going into the Topuria buzzsaw when he's at the peak of his powers. So
I mean,
this is great. And it's also good that he's not doing this weird double champ thing and holding up the division. He's like, that's okay. I'm done. The belt is vacant. Someone else can have it. I'm going to go chase bigger things. That's the way UFC champion. Yeah, that's why they should do it. They shouldn't have this weird double champ thing where we have to call an interim or maybe two interims and hold the division in lockstep.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I'm not, like, no one should be upset for Ilya making this move. Like you said, I think it does sort of hurt, like, the all-time featherweight conversations. But then again, I feel like that's really not what Topuria is in the UFC for. Like, he's trying to set, like, UFC, like, records or reach a stardom that hasn't been reached in some time. And like, he's better all time than, say someone like McGregor, but I don't think he even passes Aldo in the all-time featherweight conversation. But this is absolutely, I think.
Yeah, well, I think objectively, and this is going to be a weird statement, but Volk is a better featherweight champion than Topuria was because Topuria has one title defense. Like, they won head-to-head, but, like, there's a stat that I saw. It was like Volk's in his 10th straight title fight when he goes and fights Lopez. So that's going to be like that stat alone is like, oh, this guy has longevity at the top, which is typically how we, define our champions, is how long were they actually able to be elite for.
I mean, dominated for years. Yeah, but then the other side of the coin for this, we get the Volkanovski versus Lopez match. Lopez was really the only fight left for Topuria at 145, I would say.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, this title fight right here, Volkanovski Lopez. If it was Volkanovski Topuria, Volkanovski would have gotten murdered. I mean, let's just be realistic. He would have gotten murdered again.
Again.
He would have gotten KO'd. But this fight is actually way more interesting because, yes, Lopez does have the power to put Volkanovski out. But Lopez also has, like, you know, some cardio issues that we know Volkanovski does not have. And if this, you know, starts to go, you know, round 1 ends, round 2 ends, it's gonna get a little bit dicey, you know, if Lopez can't knock him out early.
And there is just a massive experience and skills goal.
Exactly.
We know how seasoned he is. It's really just how chinned is he? Has he had enough time to recover, or maybe he was never chinned and do what now?
Can you even recover from that?
Well, here's the thing. What if Topuria is just that strong? Like, what if it's a combination of that? And I mean, we know Lopez is strong, so I mean, maybe he'll knock Volk out too. But I mean, if let's say he doesn't, and he doesn't even knock Volk down, like maybe there's a bit of a reevaluation on how sturdy Volk is.
The thing that interests me a lot about this fight is that the wrestling aspect of this fight and like grappling, like Lopez is very, very good when it comes to grappling. So I feel like this fight, if we see takedowns at all, I feel like it'll be Lopez trying to initiate them, not Volkanovski. So that we might get a full title fight that's in the stand-up, the majority at least, between Volkanovski and Lopez, and that would be very good. It just sort of reminded me. I mean, it's nowhere near like the technical aspect of this fight, but sort of like a better Biev Volk fight where Lopez has this power that could put your lights out, but Volkanovski is definitely more technical when it comes to the stand-up, I'd say.
So that's actually really transitions well into the rest of the 314 lineup. So the vacant title, as we had said, Volkanovski versus Lopez. Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Does Mikey Chan still work here for Michael Chandler?
If he doesn't, it's unironically over for Chandler. He doesn't win here.
Yeah.
This is the Diet McGregor. Paddy is the Diet McGregor. He has to win. He has to win here. Like this would be if he loses to Paddy. I feel like that's a terrible, terrible sign for Chandler.
I do think Chandler will win by knockout. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be an exciting fight, but that just feels like the obvious result to me. Because, like, where's Paddy's strength? It's on the ground. And Chandler's strength used to be on the ground, but he's, like, forsaken that. Like, he doesn't care to grapple. He doesn't really want to. He'd rather try unless he's forced to. And so there's no way that Paddy's going to force him to the ground. Unless he could drag him down there. But, like, Chandler won't initiate that kind of fight. Which is how, you know, Bobby Green lost his last fight to Paddy. Was that he jumped straight into his arms.
Immediately. Yeah, I mean, Chandler, he's only been submitted one time, and that was against Dustin Poirier, actually. So, I don't know. I would sort of say that this is going to end up like being a majority stand-up fight. I mean, Paddy's probably going to try to bring him down at some point. But, I mean, if it's on the feet, I feel like at some point, Chandler's just going to land on Paddy. And, I mean, I feel like you sort of have to bet on Chandler by KO in this fight. Like, that's the most likely outcome. But, I mean, I like the matchmaking. Yeah. I would say at least, yeah. I mean, because Chandler, the way he fights, I mean, like Nathan said, he fights to get fight of the night bonuses. I mean, that's at least historically what it's been like.
Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates.
This is a good fight.
Yeah, no notes. Good fight. That's all I got. And then Danny Gage.
Big step up.
Woodson.
Another good fight. Woodson had a good performance. In his last time out, I think he won by KO. But yeah, Danny Gay is Danny Gay, and this dude hits hard. I think we'll probably see a finish in that fight too. Damn, 314 could actually be very, very good.
It's looking like it.
Yeah.
When is this one? It's on April 12th. And 315 had a little bit of a shakeup. Supposed to be on the 10th of May, is now instead. Well, it's still on the 10th of May, but some of the fights have changed. So the UFC London is no longer going to be Leon Edwards versus Jack Della Maddalena. It's now Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady, and JDM's fighting Bilal Muhammad for the title at 315. So that's pretty cool. This one will be in Montreal. Fun.
And for people unawares, the reason it's not Shavkat is because Shavkat is injured. He's getting knee ? Surgery, I think. He's getting something repaired.
That was the rumor. I remember hearing that like right after the Ian Gary fight. He had actually like fought Ian Gary with some torn ligaments in, I don't know which knee it was, but in one of the knees he had some torn ligaments, and he had just fought that way. I was a really big proponent that he should get that fixed before fighting Bilal, just because Bilal is like, I mean that's a hard fight. He's gonna be wrestling a lot. He needs his knee to be, functional.
Right.
But yeah, he'll get next shot though, 100%.
Anything more for these announcements before we get into the reviews?
Pretty good announcement. Everything here is pretty good. The next big announcement will be, I believe, International Fight Week.
Yeah, that's in June?
Yeah, I think so. And that's normally a big card. So we'll see who they put on that. I mean, potential to get Ilia Topuria on that card. So we'll see.
That probably will be the Aspinall Jones fight.
Should I hope?
Like it is happening. Well, I guess, I don't know. Did we talk about Jones having a crash out on Instagram last week or last time we were out?
Yeah. No, not that at all.
I think that was like somewhat recently.
I
did see that.
Yeah, he had that weird crash out moment. I don't know what that means. Could be that he's in prime form and he's ready to fight, knowing him. But
Yeah.
I did see a lot of people talking about International Fight Week as being the potential Aspinall Jones fight.
Dude, I really hope so. I mean that and Jones was drunk in that video, in that Instagram live. It's like 2 a.m. He was talking about murdering somebody.
Wow.
I mean, it's something. It did not look good, but hopefully that fight is getting made.
Anger management's going well, I see. Yeah, if he's in fighting spirit, then if that's his fighting spirit, make sure to get Mrs. Jones somewhere else.
Well, just to add fuel to this fire, Dana White recently said the biggest fight in UFC history is coming soon, and he didn't elaborate.
Dana White versus Oscar De La Hoya.
What we all needed.
Yeah. As long as we get one of either Jones versus Aspinall or Ilia versus Islam this year. I don't know. I've sort of like given up hope. I've become like a big doomer when it comes to Jones Aspinall, but I don't know. If it happens, I'll still be happy. Very, very happy.
Is International Fight Week a big enough occasion to have both of those fights on at the same time? Like on the same card?
I don't. If they did it, that would be crazy, but I just feel like
that's
like
two
if, like separated.
Right?
Yeah, two massive.
That's the type of those are the type of fights they wish they had for UFC 300. Like they would have done that for 300 if they were available.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. Before we move on, support for this episode is from Carnivore Snacks. One snack that I think most people can agree on is jerky. When I was in Afghanistan, it was my go-to whenever I needed something that had a bit of heft, but I didn't really have time to sit down and eat a meal. So, jerky brands, they come and go, and while the big players are still out there, let me put you on game about Carnivore Snacks. 2 ingredients: meat, salt. This is the jerky for people who appreciate the power of raw simplicity. This isn't your gas station grab-and-go bullshit. This here is savory beef seasoned by the one essential mineral that sharpens the flavor and preserves the meat. No frills or fancy marinades, just unadulterated flavor. My first order was the ribeye. It's my favorite cut of steak. And goodness fucking gracious, the marbling on the jerky was immaculate. Carnivore Snacks did it up right. So ditch the candy-coated schoolboy fuckery and embrace the primal satisfaction and purity of beef and salt. Get 15% off every order from Carnivore Snacks. Help us out a little bit in the process by going to csnacks.lux.be. That's csnacks.lvx.be. Get 15% off every order today. Support for this episode is from Ramen Bay. Whether you're a student living in a dorm, busy professional grabbing a quick lunch, or simply a ramen enthusiast looking for an easy upgrade, Ramen Bay is the answer. It's not just about convenience, it's about quality. Made with only the finest ingredients, freeze-dried to lock in the freshness and the flavor, Each packet is a carefully crafted concoction to deliver a balanced and delicious taste. If you enjoy ramen, like actual ramen, with good broth, good noodles, good flavor, these additions are a must. My personal favorites, the enoki mushrooms add a lovely little crunch that hides inside of the noodles, and the oyster mushrooms make the flavor rich and makes the meal feel a lot heartier. The original blends are also pretty good. I recommend checking out the kimchi style, just my suggestion. Pour it into the water as you're boiling your noodles up and you're good to go. Say goodbye to bland, boring bullshit and hit up the bay for ramen and chill. If you want to get 10% off every order and you want to help us out a little bit in the process, go to ramen.lux.b. Gotta be honest with you, as I'm finishing recording this, I'm about to go make some. Thinking about enoki mushrooms got me grumbling a little bit. So check out the ramen bay with this link, ramen.lvx.be. Get 10% off every order. Reviews. Fun. There's only two, one of which is just for the memes. One, Friday Fights 97. I was going to completely skip it, but then once I went back to check, this is where a lot of the fun names were at. So Neat Corn JP Power and Associates gets a UD. Congratulations. Junior Fairtex. Junior, the woman named Junior, gets a UD. Congrats. And I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because it's very difficult. Looks very difficult anyway. T-Dead99 loses to Kongsuk.
Kongsuk bros up.
Kongsuk bros fucking no.
Yeah.
Wangs in your pants for this one. Please.
Wangs out for Kong.
Always.
That was it. Nothing else really worth talking about. Saturday, February 15th, UFC Fight Night 251. This was at the Apex. From the bottom up, stop me if you need to. Jacqueline Cavalcanti, 13th at bantamweight, gets a UD over Julia Villa. Walter Walker submits Dontel Mays. Elijah Smith, UD over Vince Morales. That's Walker Mays was heavy. Smith Morales was bantam. Gabriel Bonfim submits Chaos Williams in the second at welterweight.
That was wild, by the way.
Yeah.
That was wild. Chaos Williams was out in a bad way.
Yeah, I had him picked on the pick league. That stoppage was the submission was so bad. I should get negative points for that.
Yeah, I was actually worried there, like as soon as that fight got stopped, because he was doing some weird things, unconscious, but luckily he's okay.
Was it Bryce Mitchell level of weird?
No, it wasn't like convulsions, but it was definitely not normal. Like I'll try to find the video and send it later, but it was definitely not normal.
Rafael Estevam gets the win over Jesus Aguilar. It was a unanimous decision. Those were flyweights. Angela Hill, 13th at strawweight. Split decision over Ketlin Sosa. Man, Angela Hill just will not she will not stop. Cannot be stopped. And capping off the prelims, Jose Delgado KO1 over Connor Matthews. Featherweights. All right. In the main portion, Andre Petroski, UD over Rodolfo Vieira. I don't know. I'm not very good at those yet. Those middleweights, Nazim Sadikov, doctor stoppage at the end of the first.
Yeah.
Over Ismail Bonfim.
This was a weird one because he took a kick, like right to the face, like in front of the face, and apparently he just could not see anymore. Bonfim, I mean. So they had to stop the fight, but I mean he wasn't poked or anything. He just took a head kick right to the front of the face, and I guess it shut off
must
something.
Have jacked up his eye socket or something.
Yeah, had to have.
Yeah, something was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to Hector Garcia when he fought Tank. Like he got hit like right next to his eye socket, and then he just couldn't see out of that eye anymore. He can now, but yeah. It
Yeah, in the moment.
Yeah, in the moment. I think it lasted for a few days before he got vision back.
Damn.
Yeah,
That would be scary.
That is scary. Scary stuff.
And it was that's a question mark kick, right? That's what he got him with.
I think so. Because like I remember he like ducked down, Bonfim ducked down, thinking it was just like gonna go up top, but it was Sadikov put it a little bit lower and right to the front of the face. I mean, he ate it, to be fair, but he lost his eyesight in the process.
I mean, quite a beautiful kick if you see it in slow motion. I'm just rewatching the replays now and just snaps it up halfway through the motion of the kick. Like, wow, beautiful.
Oh, I remember that. There it is. The Bonfim Williams clip.
Yeah. Not quite Bryce Mitchell level, but it was bad.
Moving up, Edmund Shabazian stops Dylan Budka in the first.
Classic Shabazian fight.
Is that normal for him? I don't recall ever. Maybe I have, but I don't remember seeing him before this.
Yeah, I mean, normally, he actually used to be a pretty big prospect a few years ago. I think he lost to, I think it was Derek Brunson, where his hype got derailed. He's not even in the UFC anymore. He retired. But Shabazian has always been like this, like one round fighter, where he in the first round he's very, very good, but after that he's sort of mid. But it was enough this time to get Budka out of there.
Yusuf Zalal, UD over Calvin Cater. This was you guys were saying this was a big test, a good litmus test for how good Zalal really is.
Yeah, he's quite good actually. Didn't feel that particularly close after the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, Zalal was just throwing all sorts of volume out there, and he has now entered the rankings as 12th.
Ooh,
yeah, I mean, he should get a top 10 guy, 1 through 9 or 5 through 9, something like that. He's potentially like maybe 3-4-ish fights away from a title shot, so he's on track. Decent performance. Cater did all right, like in the third round. The fight was over by that point, like unless he got a KO.
And a good time to enter the rankings now that Topuria has seen himself out.
Yeah, dude, 145 is now interesting again because now, when Topuria was there, it was like, oh, this dude's gonna hold the belt for time if he stays here. But now I'm genuinely like curious as to who's gonna be champion in the coming years.
Trust, it'll be Volk. Our boy's back.
We're so back.
Okay. I think, I'm not gonna lie. I think he gets murdered again. If I'm being real, unfortunately.
Let's see.
All right. And capping this card off, Jared Cannonier stops Gregory Rodriguez in 4. That's the old man.
This fight, bro,
will not be stopped.
This was actually not a bad fight, the main event. This was sort of wild because, like, Cannonier got hurt 3 times in the first round. Like, 2 of those times being, like, severely hurt. Where, you could have maybe even argued for a stoppage after being hurt that many times in one round. But he survived, and RoboCop, being the massive man that he is, gassed. He gassed hard. Insanely bad. Hard. Yeah. And then just slowly, Cannonier started breaking him down. I mean, at the end of the third, I think Cannonier hurt him. They came out in the 4th, and RoboCop he was not recovered from the damage done in the 3rd round, and he got put out. It was a really bad performance for him. It's just stamina, man. Stamina. I feel like we're seeing that a lot nowadays, where it's becoming sort of the main reason why fighters are losing nowadays.
Oh, they're not conditioned well enough to go all 3 or 5.
Yeah.
All 5. I think the jump from 3 to 5 is where a lot of people seem to drop off. Like we saw that with the Japanese fighter against Royval.
Well, what was crazy was he looked gassed after the 2nd round. Like, he didn't even get to the third round before he gassed. He like just shot everything out in the first round and was like just limping after that.
That's the thing though with Cannonier, like you can say whatever you want about Cannonier, but he's experienced. He's been in there with a lot of the best fighters at 185. He's really underrated as a fighter when it comes to like the division. And he's not. I'm not saying he's like a goat or anything like that. But when it comes to being experienced and being durable, if we want to throw the word gatekeeper out there, he's a very, very good one.
Top level gatekeeper. Looking at his resume,
he's very, very good.
He has.
Yeah, he's fought a lot of good people.
Adesanya, Strickland, Imavov. If you want a title shot, you're gonna have to beat Cannonier. He beat Anderson Silva. Was this like
this was years ago? This was like
stage?
after October.
Yeah,
This
this
is like
this
Wash
is
Silva.
Okay.
post Weidman knockout and leg break.
Oh, the leg break. Why did you remind me?
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, Cannonier is like crazy durable because Cannonier had more stamina after getting rocked that many times in the first round than RoboCop did, bro. Like, this is what I find hard to believe. He's 40. This man is 40, and he had better stamina than a 30. What is it? I think RoboCop is like 32 years old.
Yeah.
Like, this is, man, get on the treadmill. Get on the treadmill.
How did you put
You have
it
to make
for
some
the Eagle
adjustments.
guys? They're gonna be on hamster wheels.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta improve that conditioning because
You need to get your ass to work.
if you can't maintain your offensive output, then what is? I mean, it's great if you get them out in one round and all, but what's gonna happen when you don't?
You
And
train
that's
for all 5, not for a first round.
yeah,
knockout.
exactly. And when you reach this level, like this was supposed to be the step up to like get into contention. I mean, you're not gonna be able to blow everyone out in one round. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Chins get better, defenses get better.
Exactly.
It looked like Cannonier had the idea of weathering the storm a little bit, where his defense didn't break, but it bent enough to survive up to the point where once the gassing started happening, he was able to rebound a little bit and push back.
Yeah.
That what was the Derek Chisora one? He has more experience being washed.
Yeah, I mean, Cannonier might be the Chisora of the UFC. He might be
And it
because
would be-
he's not. He's old. He's old as shit, but he's not trash.
Yeah, and he's longevity. He's been in for a while.
Yeah.
Anything more for the fight night card? All right. Into the previews, we only have one coming up, and I scoured. I went all the way to the bottom of the barrel and couldn't find a whole lot. So March 1st, Saturday. Besides the, UFC Fight Night 253, the tank card is looks a little more promising.
Yeah.
All right, so from the bottom up, as usual, the prelims they should be starting at about 1 p.m. on the West Coast. Starting off, Charles Johnson, 12th rated flyweight versus Ramazan Temirov. Did I not tag? I don't think I did. Montana De La Rosa is a RJ tag versus Luana Carolina. Danny Silva versus Lucas Almeida. Andrea Lee versus JJ Aldrich. And Douglas Silva de Andrade versus John Castaneda. Ricardo Ramos versus Chepe Mariscal. And Danny Barlow versus Sam Patterson. This feels like an Apex card. Am I hitting that one right?
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's only 2 fights I'm like interested in on this card. Like, this is a mid card,
Yeah.
a very mid card.
Charles Johnson is fun, so I can say that much, but I can't really speak to anything else. Woof.
Yeah.
Main portion starting at about 4 on the West Coast. Heater Amil versus William Gomi. Austin Lane, a very mid heavyweight, versus Mario Pinto. Nasrat Hakparast versus Esteban Ribovic.
This is one of the two. This is one of the two that I want to watch. Esteban Ribovic. He was one half of the fight that I had as my fight of the year for MMA last year. He fought the Mexican Daniel Zellhuber. This is the guy he had the fight with.
Was that at the Sphere?
Yeah, and it was
right.
against Ribovic.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Nasrat is good. Nasrat is actually a decent fighter. So this should be a fun little scrap. This is one of the two fights that I'm actually looking forward to on this card.
Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez. And capping it off, Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev.
Was that intentional, by the way? Capping it off?
Yep, it was.
That was a good one. That was a good.
They're 6th and 8th at flyweight, respectively. Charles Johnson, get this man off the prelims. If you're having a ranked fight at the very top at flyweight, put another flyweight nearby. Just an idea.
Yeah. To be honest, yeah. I'm really sad. If it was Kape versus Royval, this card would probably have a little bit more hype behind it. But Almabayev is just not. I mean, he's good. He's good. Like, this is actually a good fight when it comes down to it. But he's just not as well known.
Yeah, I think I had seen his last one, and I went into that not knowing who he was, but seeing the performance was eye-opening. Someone to put on the radar.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's it though. That's all we got for this one. Here it is. Unless you have anything more for this very, very enthralling, exciting, just stacked to the fucking rafters Apex card.
I'll watch 2 of these fights, but as far as I'm concerned, this is a Gervonta Davis day. Even that's sort of mediocre as well, like as far as the main event. But that is a box.
Not very good.
Yeah, at least you're seeing something like special, at least on one half of the ring.
Yeah,
There ain't
that is a box
going on with this card.
Yeah, that is a boxing day, 100%.
All right, 1 second. You've been listening to The Ultimate Effin' Casuals, a Lux Media production. If you'd like to give your thoughts, or you need to let us know how terrible you think our takes are, you can duck us and text our anonymous line at 833-589-7637. If you want to stand on your business, send a voice message or send a voice note in WhatsApp, and we'll see if you're interesting enough to make the final cut of the show. 833-LUXPODS. If you prefer to hit us up on social media, the account name is LVX Media Net, all one word. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, all of that bullshit. If you can't find us, chances are we're not on it. A lot of stuff gets cut out from the final releases, so if you want the raw audio exactly as it's recorded, look us up on Patreon. LVX Media Net, just like everywhere else. Patreon's also where you could get some ad-free versions, as well as behind-the-scenes content. Even if you don't sign up on Patreon, you can still help us out if you check out our ad sponsors. Or you can leave a rating on whatever app you're listening on, would really help a lot. And last but not least, you can check out the new merch shop, and new stuff is going up all the time. That's shop.lux.b. The metal intros by Anders Janhunen, the jazzy intros by Afternoon, the outros by Middle of Nowhere Beats, and for more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lvxmedia.net. So we're heading into pardon. No, I'm not apologizing for it. We're heading into Gervonta Davis weekend. Parting words.
Let's go real quick. I'll just say a lot of good announcements in the UFC. 2025 is looking like it could be a very, very good year for the UFC. So, I mean, I just hope we keep getting announcements like this throughout the year. And, man, they're cooking up something, and it seems to be very good.
Yeah, I agree. Good, positive movement in the change of divisions here between featherweight to lightweight for Topuria. The correct way, I think a champion should try to elevate himself. Don't tie up 2 divisions, just keep everything rolling. And we've been gifted an excellent fight on top of that. So in the Volkanovski and Diego Lopez fight. So a lot of excellent stuff coming up. Potentially some big fight news coming out for International Fight Week. We'll see. Can the big bald man deliver? Maybe he can. I don't know. We'll see.
Check out the fucking YouTube channel. I'm looking at this little page of quotes here. I'm trying to find a good one. Here we go. This one's from Maya Angelou. Try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. This fight night It's not very fun. But we're here with you. We're going to make it as enjoyable as possible. Whether that's me fucking up somebody's name or whatever else. Being completely wrong on the pick league. Go to the website. You could go join the Discord. You can get into the pick league. It's a lot of fun. Just bragging rights. It's just bragging rights, but it's worth it. All right, that's it for this one. We will see you on the other side of this fight night. And Tank,